Iron County Republicans, why would you vote for a Democrat? Hello, my name is Thomas Lovehart, and I'm a lifelong independent who is running under the Democratic banner against the Republican incumbent Rex Shipp. And maybe you don't know Rex Shipp, but he represents our district. And this is a deep, deep red district. I'm talking about 80% of the voters out here always vote for the Republican. And they have for decades. And I just want to ask, what has come of that? The legislature is constantly selling out to big developers to the point that we have experienced explosive growth for the last 10 years, but home prices still are out of reach for too many. And now these corporations are renting those homes. So we're creating a permanent class of renters while home ownership falls further and further out of reach for regular working residents of Cedar City. The legislature constantly sells out to big agriculture, these alfalfa farms that are growing this extremely water intensive crop out here, using 80% of the water for the area and draining our aquifers. And now the legislature wants to spend $280 million on a taxpayer-funded loan building the Pine Valley water supply pipeline. But in order to pay for that, the water rates of residents living here in Cedar City are projected to increase by 300 to 700%. That is the legislature's own estimation. Gas prices are now $4.20 as the war that Donald Trump started has completely backfired on us. And I know we can't put that full blame on Utah Republican politicians, but how many of our Congresspeople, our Republican Congresspeople, actually put limits on Trump's ability to wage this war? There's been 2 votes to limit Trump's war powers, and both have failed. And by the way, with the help of the Democrats, because Democrats are no better. Both parties have been captured by special interests and corporations and billionaires and lobbyists to the point that they no longer represent the people that have elected them. Every year, costs for regular, hardworking Americans like you are going up, while our politicians continue to fund more massive tax breaks for billionaires, or massive tax breaks for private property developers, or massive tax breaks for agriculture. And when we ask them not to defund our schools and to not sell off our public lands and to do something about the draining Salt Lake, they always say that there's no more money. But when it comes time to give their rich friends another tax break or start another war, there's always billions and billions of dollars available. I want all of us who are paying the majority of the taxes in this country to actually see the benefits of how those taxes are spent, instead of watching as they're wasted, giving someone who already has more than most of us could ever dream of another $1 billion tax break. When it comes to real policy that is going to make the lives of working class people in this district better, that's what I really care about. And I can't believe that we don't have representatives who seem to care about that also. Republican or Democrat or Libertarian, I want you to be able to afford a home in your hometown. I want you to be able to afford your healthcare so that if you get sick, you don't go bankrupt or die. I want to protect our air and water from corporate pollution and preserve the beautiful landscapes that make Utah, Utah. My point to Utah Republican voters is that Republican politicians have failed you. They know that things are too expensive, that many of us struggle to afford our groceries, that many of us can never even dream of owning a home out here, and they don't care. The second biggest voting group out here are not Democrats, it's unaffiliated voters, independents like me. We care about Utah issues and Utah people, and that means affordability and good jobs with fair wages and protecting our public lands. Utah is changing, and a lot of people feel like it's changing for the worse. And it's easy to point to people moving from out of state as the source of all your problems, but the real source of these problems that we face are the politicians in our legislature who do not represent us. This doesn't have to be just the way things are. It's the intentional result of specific policy that has been implemented by these Republicans in the legislature, and it can be reversed by pro-worker, pro-people policy. My name is Thomas Lovehart, and you can learn all about me and what I stand for on my website. Please consider donating to my campaign because this is as grassroots as it gets. And if I'm going to win my race in a deep, deep red Republican district, then I need not just Democrats and unaffiliated voters, but I need Republicans to support my campaign. We can come together to reject this hyper-partisan divisiveness and actually build a better, stronger Utah for working families. Our government and our democracy exist as a tool for regular people to make their lives better. And if the politicians serving in the legislature refuse to take their job seriously, then we need to get them the hell out of there. Rex Ship has spent 8 years in the legislature, and he can't point to a single policy that has actually improved the lives of working people in his district. So if you ask me, it's time for Rex Ship to set sail.